Everyone, my name is Jamie Curtis, and I'll be the moderator for this debate tonight. Today we'll be discussing the differences and similarities between applied behavioral analysis and positive-based school-wide intervention. So let's do some introductions. This is Julia Silva, and this is Sarah Van Pelt, and they will be discussing the similarities between ABA and positive school-based intervention. Then we also have Mariela Escobar and Ashley. I'm sorry, tell me how to say your last name.
Gerardo.
Okay. And Mariela and Ashley will be discussing the differences between the two and how they are not related. So we'll start out with Julie, who will give us an introduction, and we'll jump into the debate.
Hi, my name is Julie Silva, and I will be the stater for the pro side. I will introduce school-wide positive behavior support, also known as SWPBS. You will hear me say PBS for short. Looking to history, PBS emerged from the controversy surrounding the use of aversive consequences with people with developmental disabilities. Authors have cited in various articles that indicate that this type of broad-based movement was emerged in support of non-aversive behavior management during the 1980s. By 1987 to 1992, the U.S. Department of Education National Institute on Disability and Rehabilitation Research helped with the development of PBS. They granted $100,000 for a rehabilitation research and training center on community reference technologies for non-aversive behavior management. This was the turning point for individuals with developmental disabilities. So what exactly is PBS? Starting from 1990, Horner et al. Stated that it encompassed many distinctive elements, such as emphasis on lifestyle change, functional analysis, multi-component interventions, manipulation of ecological and setting events, antecedent manipulations, teaching adaptive behavior, building environments with effective consequences, minimizing the use of punishers, distinguishing emergency procedures from proactive programming, and social validation, with a special role for preserving the dignity of the recipients of interventions. All of these factors shed light on what PBS was in the early stages of PBS. More recently, in 2000, Horner further typified PBS as an approach that blends values with the rights of people with disabilities with the practical science about how learning and behavior change occur. In alignment with Horner's ideas, in 2002, Carr et al. Described PBS as an applied science that uses educational methods to expand an individual's behavior repertoire and system change methods to redesign an individual's living environment to first enhance the individual's quality of life and second, to minimize his or her problem behavior. Lastly, in 2003, am I doing okay?
Yeah, keep going. You're doing great.
Lastly, in 2003, Warren et al. Also stated that PBS is intended to enhance quality of life and minimize/prevent problem behavior through a rational integration of A, value outcomes, B, behavioral and biomedical science, C, empirically supported procedures, and D, system change. Positive behavior support in a school is implemented at 3 levels: universal support, targeted support, and individual support. PBS is a comprehensive system of support that is in place in all areas of schools. For example, hallways, classrooms, cafeterias, the schoolyard. The goal of PBS are to prevent the development of problem behavior and to decrease or eliminate currently occurring discipline problems, and more importantly, to increase positive social behavior to all students. So I'm gonna go ahead and let Sarah talk about what is it? What am I letting you talk about?
7 dimensions.
The 7 dimensions.
The 7 dimensions of PBS. I'm going to type that down.
7 dimensions of ABA.
All right, let's go to Sarah then.
Okay. One of the biggest backing that we had in support of SWPBS and saying that it is definitely related to ABA was in the fact that SWPBS puts a significant amount of effort in following the 7 dimensions of ABA. The 7 dimensions which were developed by Bayer, Wolf, and Risley in 1968. This information can be found in the article by Anderson and Kincaid in 2005. We start with the applied dimension. SWPBS assists in the reduction of problematic behavior and supports the increase of positive social behaviors, and is applied at different levels, ranging from school, district, and even state level. So this goes to show that it is applied in applied science. The behavior dimension, behavior targets are observable, and SWPBS demonstrates that the targeted behavior itself is being changed by using discipline referrals, which provide a written record of behaviors. And this is discussed in the article by somebody that I can't pronounce their name, Sprague et al. 2000. The analytic dimension, SWPBS demonstrates the dimension of analysis by observing behavior that is measurable and creating generalized intervention plans that demonstrate how to make specified changes to entire school systems. That's it. The conceptual link between the philosophy of behavior analysis is that SWPBS emphasizes data-based assessment and decision-making. Interventions are ideographically implemented for specific school rather than the individual, and intervention components are derived directly from research in the field of behavior analysis. As with ABA, it is necessary to show that it's the intervention that is creating change. Most studies that support SWPBS use an A-B design to evaluate its effects. This can be seen in the article by Tobin et al. For the technological dimension, in the case of SWPBS, technological precision relates to the extent to which implementers strive for precision in individual schools. Implementation procedures are broken down into a written and visual format that encourages a clearer understanding. And that was presented by Horner in 2002. The affective dimension, SWPBS, is an application of a theory and practice of behavior analysis. Wait, that didn't make any sense, hold on. SWPS is an application of a theory and practice of behavior analysis to a system-level analysis and change. It is applied in a way such that it will be durable and maintained over time. Empirical demonstrations of the efficacy of SWPBS are growing. And lastly, the 7th dimension is generality. Because SWPBS focuses on increasing the quality of life of students and on increasing wanted socially significant behavior across many settings, SWPBS does meet the requirements of generality. And this is presented in the article by Lewis et al. 2002. And that's it.
Awesome. Okay, so next we'll turn the time over to Mariella, who is the stater for our con side.
Hello, my name is Mariela. I will be discussing the con arguments of why behavior support, the school-wide positive behavior support is in conflict with ABA. I will start our argument by defining what is applied behavior analysis. ABA is a science in which tactics derived from the principles of behavior and are applied systematically to improve social significant behaviors, and its implementation is used to identify the variables and responsible for the behavior change. Our first argument for that For the ABA practitioner, the research literature of the efficacy of various procedures is the primary resource from which clinical interventions are selected. The approach of PVS and treatment materials are relatively general, focusing on broad changes in the environment, which typically lacks the technical rationale for such interventions may be expected to produce change in the target outcomes. On the other hand, ABA maintains high sets of standards in the intervention uses. For example, the three-term contingency is an example and requires a considerable expertise to anticipate and manage the intervention successfully. PVS professionals provide interventions models that are relatively non-technical in nature. Are we freeze? Hello?
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here. I just don't know how to turn my microphone off.
You at the top of the screen there, it has a little
Is it because
thing
my thing is little? It just says live. Oh, wait, I see it.
in the middle. Mm-hmm.
Okay. No worries. Okay. Our second argument, PVS professionals lack the formal training in ABA and the core approaches of services. ABA on the other hand, has a multi-layer approach to interventions in which formally trained and certified professionals who are available to provide guidance and assistance and monitor to those who lack such expertise, such as direct staff, parents, and caregivers. The lack of training may discourage skill. Sorry, that is my niece. That is my niece arriving. Sorry. Okay, let me continue. The lack of training may discourage the skill development and hinder staff performance by the students and the staff teachers. In contrast, the field of ABA has high standards and encouragement of ethical and professional for teaching new skills and addressing specific problem behaviors. Do you want me to continue to make her argument? Or you wanna? I'm confused now. Should I continue?
So, I think you can keep going. So the rest of your, I don't know, what do you have left?
I have like 4 arguments, but that's the thing, like, I don't know, like, when should I just introduce like our arguments or like wait until like we go back and forth? I don't know.
Let's see, who's the attacker? Isn't that Ashley?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I would say maybe go ahead and keep presenting your arguments.
I was going to say, I think you should present all of your arguments and then we'll go into back and forth.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
keep going. You're doing great.
Going. Okay. Third argument. If PVS is equivalent to or derived from principles from ABA, PVS practitioners should also be trained in the basic competence in ABA. PVS practitioners need to have full content in designating and implementing interventions effectively. PVS approach is that services may not be adequate incorporate in the findings of decades of research in behavior analysis because it is practitioners lack the necessary training in ABA. The training in ABA and lack the training in degree programs. Sorry, my house just got really loud and I'm really distracted. How about we go to Ashley? Sorry.
That's okay. So my points, do we want to transition to the actual debate piece?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that'll be what's up next. I'm not sure exactly how this will go, but I think, let's try it first.
Okay. So do I actually like call Sarah out? Like, do I say, Sarah, you stated blah, blah, blah?
I mean, you can, but I won't have anything to say to you because I don't know what you're going to say. So really, I just need to know what I need to know what you're going to say so that I can prepare what we are going to say because I'm not going to know. But you can try me and I'll write it down.
I will say something like,
I'm going to write it down.
As Sarah mentioned, the dimension of behavior of conceptual systems, applied behavior analysis arose from specific and identifiable theoretical bases rather than a set of packages or tricks where many PBIS systems are sold as packages, such as Principles 100 Club. This is an example of a tertiary support that is sold to school districts to support. I need to like actually spell out what I'm going to say, but so that's my, and then you can come back and say something else because I have
some kind of
I have a
study or
study for you.
Oh yeah, that's my girl.
So you can come back and use this. I can email it to you.
Sweet, perfect. Okay,
and then you can say that.
Okay, awesome.
And then I'll come back and say, well, according to our code of ethics, section 3.01,
good.
Behavior analytic assessment. No, that's not the one I want to use. Sorry. Code of Ethics 4.02 involving clients in planning and consent. PBIS is typically a blanket intervention and is not individualized at the tier 1 or tier 2 levels. The student body typically does not have a say in what goes on in PBIS, and they're not involved in the planning or consent to the actual behavior intervention procedure. And then you'll say something else.
So do I need to kind of
how the parents don't have consent?
Mm-hmm.
Right. They don't have any input in the interventions.
Right. How about we say, like you say, you said this, and then like Jamie can say like, Sarah, do you have something to say? Or something like that.
Yeah. or I could be like, I feel like I could be the one that's like, oh, okay, let's move on to a different point because otherwise I feel like we're going to be stuck going back and forth forever on one thing.
Not if it's all scripted. Then we
won't. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Exactly.
It'll just flow.
But I think I could help make that transition a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Right. So the couple of points I'm going to talk about are, like I said, I have an article that talks about the conceptual systems and the like PBIS system. I have an argument about the 2 separate code of ethics, the involving clients in planning and consent, and then individualized behavior change programs. And that really focuses on the tier 1 and tier 2 levels, so the actual school-wide piece, because when you get to tier 3, you're looking at individual intervention.
Right.
So I feel like we need to focus solely on those tier 1 and tier 2 levels.
Right. That's more general. And tell me what code of ethics they were again? 3?
Code of ethics 4.02 and 4.03.
Okay.
And then I have an easy argument for you because I'm going to bring up 3.01 and it's the assessment piece. And there's tons of assessment that's been done on PBIS. So that's going to be an easy kind of time killer if we need it.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
Just so you know, guys, we're at about 20 minutes.
Oh, good.
How many?
I just need to slow down. I was like,
we're at about 20 minutes.
Okay.
Right.
So Ashley, let's for now, let's go ahead and go through your points. And Sarah, maybe you can just kind of be like, just put in your thoughts. You don't have to put any like specific studies or anything in.
Wait, I have a question. I have a question first. Ashley, how do you exactly like what parts of ABA you want me to present, like so I can prepare, have like actual articles, or I don't know, like, I don't know exactly what, because you know, in ABA you can say so many things, like talk about fidelity. I mean, how do we keep the file safe?
I think bringing up the training piece was huge. I think that's going to be a huge argument for our side. So that was perfect. Definitely talk about how the conceptual systems dimension and kind of, you know, how Sarah brought it up for PBS, bring it up for ABA, and how it's much more, you know, basically it's much more, I don't want to say systematic because that's silly because I'm saying it a million times, but it's much more strict, I guess you could say. Because that'll be one of my arguments as well.
Okay. And so you guys are both going to be bringing up arguments. Jamie, do you want, or Julie rather, do you want to take on Mariella's arguments and I'll take on Ashley's arguments?
I can. I just need to know what she's talking about. So
well, yeah. You need to know the argument. Yeah.
Okay, how about Julie, you and I, we share what we have and then we can tie it up and see how your arguments or your presentation fits mine and vice versa.
Mine's, okay, so you're introducing ABA, I'm introducing PBS. As a stater. So what?
So let's just start with Ashley and Sarah for now because they're the attackers. And I think if we feel like we need more, then maybe we can consider that.
Because if Mariella is bringing up arguments too, I'm not going to be able to debate like a ton of arguments.
No, right. I think that Julie just introduces and Mariella just introduces, and then Sarah and I argue it out.
Okay.
Yeah, like Mariella, you don't have to like argue anything because we're just talking about ABA.
Yeah, you're just kind of introducing.
Okay.
Okay, so Ashley, let's go ahead and go through the rest of your arguments and let's kind of see how this goes.
Oh dear. I'm not ready.
I think as we talk about it, maybe we can get ideas about like things we need to research more and stuff.
Okay, so one of my first arguments that I'll bring up is that PBIS is a loosely scientific procedure that can be considered researched or evidence-based. However, there is no specific or procedure or technique that distinguishes the approach according to this article that I haven't opened yet, but I have the link. And then Sarah can say, but it is evidence-based according to these studies.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Cool.
And then, hang on, let me open the other.
That was the conceptual systems that you're talking about?
I'm just talking about how, like, the scientific piece.
Okay.
So I have the article that I'm going to send you is by Horner, Sugai, and Lewis. And it basically talks about how school-wide PBIS is an evidence-based support. So it's a good argument for your side.
Can you maybe also talk about what constitutes an evidence-based? Because I think that would be a good argument for Sarah. You can say, you know, this is what evidence-based practice is. This is how we can define it, and then you can bring up like how it meets that criteria.
Right. I wonder if, going back to our last meeting, and I asked the same question, if I shouldn't have brought up the 7 dimensions, and if I should have just used those for my debate. Because it's kind of like an added thing to put it in there. You know what I mean? Because I'm not the stater. So should I have just used that as my defense? Because basically I would come back with saying that because, like, for instance, that Horner article that she's talking about is I got the information from.
Sarah, I think you should just be like, these, with PBS, these there are 7 dimensions, and then just talk, like, literally list the 7 dimensions, and then just, I don't know, but then you have to see what Ashley's saying, so you could kind of, never mind.
I feel like
you went too in depth. You're right. so that you don't
Um,
have to say that much.
So maybe you could just
how long does this have to be? 40 minutes?
30.
I think that's
Okay.
yeah, so it needs to be like the
We're at,
max.
25.
We're at 25. Okay.
So I think that maybe
Maybe
Julie,
you and I should just get together.
right, maybe
Ashley?
Sarah and I should get together and kind of just go back and forth. Maybe Julie's presentation was totally fine, and then maybe Mariella should touch on the dimensions as it relates to ABA, and then
Okay.
you can use that, Sarah, as your opener to
Yeah.
then use the dimensions for your argument.
Yeah,
So
just
I
be
would
like,
say what I
yeah.
said as my opening piece, and then we would start to argue it back and
Right.
forth. Because it
I
did
like
take up
that.
a chunk of time, which is nice. We need that.
Right.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say that, so I can start even talking about like how is ABA scientific and how is ABA is evidence based, and then
Right.
it opens up that dialogue between Ashley and Sarah.
Right.
Yeah, because then I can go into that.
transition.
That is a good idea, because then I'm not going like one piece and then
Mhm.
I jump into that. It'll just be tied in together.
Cool.
And then I can elaborate once you bring up an argument. I can go
Right.
more in depth about it. Okay.
So I think we should use the dimensions, and then we should use the code of ethics. And I think that should be like our two big, like hanging points. And then we can kind of decide, like break it down from there. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yes.
Also, do we have any graphs or any images that we want to use?
I saw that in the debate that was posted, and I didn't realize that we were supposed to do that.
Are we supposed to, or is that just a nice added plus?
I don't know.
I
think we need to.
think we should.
If we
So-
can, I think, yeah, it would be
And
nice.
I think it's particularly relevant during the debate as well, because you can pull up really good studies. I don't know, even Sarah, even if you could find like just a chart of
Mhm.
7 dimensions and what they are, and then people could have that visual
Like
as
that
you
visual,
go through
yeah.
them.
Okay,
find
as I
the-
go through them.
I'll find
Yeah.
a generic image of the.
Oh, that would be good, because you could have the 7 dimensions, and then while I'm explaining
Yeah,
why.
we can add this, like of that code of ethics too, just like a slide of, oh, this is how it looks like,
Yeah.
And yeah.
Okay.
I'll find stuff for my part too, like
Yeah.
you know,
I'll find a generic
like
one of all the
the
tiers,
his-
and
yeah.
just so people have a visual of what that is. 'Cause
Okay.
you're right. People probably don't know, if they've never worked in schools, probably don't know when we say there's 3 tiers, probably don't know what that looks like.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, that'll
I
help.
just learned that this year, actually. I don't even knew what it was.
So that's a good idea. I'll find that.
Yeah, that's another good one.
So,
Okay, and then how do we want to conclude this? This is something I've been a little bit unsure of. I think we need something more than just like, okay, guys, that's it. I don't know. I feel like we need to kind of summarize the information.
Yeah, someone needs to do a conclusion.
And
Can you do
I
that
feel like,
part, Jamie?
yeah, I can do that. I'll just have to, I don't know. I feel like I would really like to hear the full debate portion
yeah,
before
of
I I don't know, get my summary
Yeah.
together.
you
but
can't
mo-
conclude if you don't know what we're saying.
But yeah,
I
I do
think we need, let's work on gathering all the information and put it like an actual outline, a script for it. So for next time we meet, then we can go over it again. We can record again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so-
I wrote my script down so I could send it out or send it to you, Jamie, so you could put it in a document or
do
something.
we want to do like a Google Doc where we have all of our scripts and we know what everyone is going to say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I think
when?
that'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
I will I'll put a Google Doc together and then maybe I'll just send the link out to you guys and then you can just put your information in.
Yeah.
So if possible, Ashley and Sarah, I think maybe we should, well, if you have time, I think maybe we should meet like outside of this group before our next meeting.
Sounds good.
And then we can kind of work out everything. And I would like to be there to kind of figure out my part in helping with the transitions and the conclusion. So when would you guys be free to meet?
So I probably won't be able to work on my portion until the weekend. So maybe we could meet on Monday, and then all of us as a group meet a little bit later in the week next week.
Like maybe Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
Does that work for everybody?
Yeah, that works for me.
Julie, if you're available like on the weekend, or if I have something, I'll send it to you, like my whole introduction. Like,
let me send you mine now, Mario, just so like we have at least have that, just so you kind of see if I'm missing anything that I need to introduce as well.
Okay.
I'm just gonna email it to you now, okay?
And then we can just text and whatever, email each other.
Yeah.
But I think we should be pretty good on time as soon as we get the arguments in place. And I think muting while the other person is talking is a really, really good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so in that case, we'll just plan on Ashley, Sarah, and I will meet on
This time on Monday?
Monday. And then the rest of us all of us will meet on Wednesday. Hi!
Hi.
Show them what you built.
I built a boat.
Whoa!
A boat.
Very nice.
I like it, you know.
I wish I put it on.
All right.
Okay, guys.
Okay, and I'll send you the Google Doc, and we can start putting that together as well.
And then Ashley, if you could email me that whatever you want to say, whatever your arguments are, and then I can. Cool.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right. Bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. Have a good
Bye.
night.